All right, so thank you everybody for joining us today. I'm Alicia Meehan, the Manager of Communications and Engagement in the College of Graduate Studies. And today we are joined by staff and faculty from the College of Graduate Studies and our graduate programs. We are also joined by representatives from the Global Engagement Office and the Disability Resource Center. For our session today, closed captions are available and the session will be recorded. It will be posted online in a week on our website. If you have questions, please add them into our Q&A section. Our team will be answering questions throughout the session. So just keep an eye on that Q&A to get your answers in there. We will also ask for you to have your cameras and microphones off during our presentation, but you can turn your microphones and cameras back on when we do the breakout sessions at the end of the workshop. Please use the chat if you're encountering any technical issues, and we will work with you there. I would now like to introduce Dr. Margaret Reeves, Associate Dean of the College of Graduate Studies, who will provide some opening remarks.
Well, good morning, everyone. As Alicia said, I'm Margaret Reeves, and I'm Associate Dean of the College, and I will keep my remarks brief, as I know our team has a lot of information to share with you today. So I'd like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the Syilx Okanagan Nation and their peoples in whose traditional, ancestral, unceded territory UBC Okanagan is situated. I would also like to acknowledge that you may be joining us today from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. Many of you have already started your application to graduate studies at UBC Okanagan, so I offer my congratulations to you on taking this first step towards your goal of pursuing a graduate degree. And thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. We know that some of the steps involved in applying to graduate school can seem complex and even stressful at times. So we hope that today's session will help make the application process go more smoothly for you. We're so pleased that you're considering joining our community of graduate students pursuing advanced degrees in innovative research here at UBCO. Whether you're passionate about exploring a research topic, looking to expand your knowledge in a certain area, or heading back to school to make a career change, there is a place for you here in a graduate program at UBC Okanagan. Our 58 graduate programs bring together students from around the globe, seeking innovative solutions for tomorrow's challenges and changing how we live, both in the Okanagan Valley and beyond. UBC's Okanagan campus bolsters the strength of the University of British Columbia as one of the 40 best universities in the world. Our campus offers a smaller, more closely knit community in the heart of the Okanagan Valley. We provide a supportive space when students and faculty members are empowered to thrive. Graduate students play a vital role in shaping the world around us and in advancing UBC's vision of inspiring people, ideas, and action for a better world. So I conclude by offering you my best wishes with your application and whatever the future holds for you. I look forward to meeting some of you as UBC Okanagan graduate students next year. And for now, I would like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Paul Shipley, who is also an Associate Dean of the College. And he is present on this webinar. And
it's nice to see all of you here.
Thank you, Dr. Shipley. So, and now we will turn to back to Alicia Meehan.
All right, so thank you, Margaret. Today's session, we're going to start with an overview of the application process. We're going to talk about what you should consider before you apply. We'll go through eligibility requirements. We'll talk about how to prepare your application, what to think about in terms of funding your studies. Then we'll jump to our campus resource partners. We'll talk about what you should do after submitting your application, and then we'll end the session with breakout rooms with the program staff and faculty. As a reminder, if you have questions, please add them into the Q&A section, and our team will be answering questions throughout the session. Please have your cameras and microphones off during the presentation, and you can turn your cameras and microphones back on during the breakout sessions. Please use the chat if you encounter any technical issues. And now I would like to introduce Damien Bell, our business analyst and training lead, who will be the MC for today's presentation.
Good morning, good night, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are coming to us today. Thank you for joining us for this information session. Hopefully you find it informative, and as Margaret says, we are looking forward to seeing you here as a graduate student. I will be going through the application process with you before and after you submit an application. We also have some business partners that will be providing some information to you as well. And as Alicia said, we will give you the opportunity to go into breakout rooms to speak with your program directly. If your program is not here, then you can just say in the general session, and then we can try and answer those questions for you. Overview of the application process. Is everyone seeing the PowerPoint presentation?
I'm not, Damien, no.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing the presentation. Just 1 second, bear with us while we transition. Thank you, Alicia. So an overview of the application process. Yes, perfect. There are 3 main players involved in the application process. That's the applicant, the College of Graduate Studies, and graduate programs. As an applicant, it's important for you to review the list of available programs and determine which programs apply to you. Review the admission and application requirements on our website. Is it possible for you to transition to gradstudies.ok.ubc.ca, Alicia? Right. And so this is our web page, and you can navigate this web page to find more information. Once you land here, if you click on programs and applying, if you click that drop down, then you should go to find programs and supervisors there. And scroll through, it will show you all our programs, and you can navigate that and read all the different programs we offer and see which one matches your desires of what you'd hope to study at UBC. It's also your responsibility to submit your application material via online system. We don't take mail-in applications. Ensure all documents have been submitted and complete. If admitted, accept or decline the offer via the application system, and ensure that you submit all official documents and clear all admission conditions. What the College of Graduate Studies does: admissions and records teams receives submitted applications and verifies the receipts of the documents. We have an awards team that answers questions related to merit-based scholarships and awards. Unfortunately, we cannot preview credentials without a fully submitted application, and therefore cannot assess your suitability for the program before you submit an application. If you have already reviewed all minimum requirements, please use your best judgment to decide whether you believe that you meet them and submit an application. Our colleague there has plugged the grad admissions email there that you can also send emails to query any issues you have with your applications as well. The role of the graduate program: they answer general prospective inquiries related to the program. can provide academic advice in terms of the courses that you should take or which program you should take, review and evaluates completed applications, and submit admissions and recommendations to College of Graduate Studies. As I said earlier, and Alicia mentioned, you'll be given the opportunity to speak with some of the programs today. If your program is not here, just stay in the main session, and then we'll try our best to answer those questions for you. So before you choose to apply to a program, you should ask yourself why. Why do I want to pursue a graduate degree? What do you hope to achieve by going back to school? That answer can help you guide you through the process. It is important to also do your research and explore your options. We just took you to the website so you could see where you can go to navigate the different programs that we have to better make a decision. Not all graduate programs are created equally. Even in the same discipline, a program's focus can vary. Discuss the program you're interested in, emphasize theory, original research, or more practical application of knowledge with the program or a potential supervisor. Top of mind should choosing a degree. Does it suit you? How does it advance your career? Does it give you an edge? If a graduate student needs for a career, a change, you should choose a program that it adequately prepares you for. Generally speaking, students contemplating a PhD or an academic career are better suited with a research-based program. Professional course-based master's degree are more structured and focus on the direct application of knowledge in teaching and educational administration contexts. A crucial part of your application, if you're applying to a course, a research-based program, is to identify a potential supervisor. Most thesis-based programs require you to do this. When you are ready to contact a potential supervisor, email them. Emailing them is the first step. You need to start this process very early. Don't contact them right before the application deadline and expect them to respond, as they're generally busy with a multitude of different things. There are multiple supervisors that you would be interested in studying with. Ensure they are on the right campus. Is it possible to navigate back to the web page, Alicia? And click on one of the programs. And so it's important to familiarize yourself with the potential supervisor's research interests, projects, and you can check this by going on the program, click supervisors, and click on the supervisor. If you click on any one of those, Alicia, and it will show you their research interests, will take you to their portfolio and give you a little bit more details. And so that's the best way to just scan to see the different supervisors that are in the program and the one that best aligned with you. My apologies. A reminder, professors get dozens of emails from potential students. If you want to get your email to stand out, you must give the professor the information they need to quickly and clearly make a decision. Use proper titles, say Dr. Smith, example, and use complete sentences, and try to use a spell check to ensure that your document is professional. Connect the work you have done and the research projects the professor is working on. So after you've navigated our website and you've found a potential supervisor, try to connect the work you're doing or the work you hope to do with that supervisor. Include any scholarships you have won, as well as any research projects or publications you have contributed to. If you already have funding, state the amount, duration, and source. Finding and securing a supervisor is responsibility of the applicant, so making a positive impression is important. If at any point you are struggling to connect with identifying a supervisor, reaching out to the graduate program coordinator or assistant directly might be beneficial. Remember, professors are very busy people and their schedule will vary depending on the time of year and may not be able to respond to emails right away. Not all professors are taking on graduate students, so some years are gap years for some professors because they have enough students to work on projects that they're dealing with. If you still do not hear from a faculty member after sending a message, follow up with a polite reminder, checking in with the status of your previous email. If that does not work out, try to revisit our website and see if you can find an alternative supervisor that fits your research. Let's talk about money. So an important conversation that you should have with your supervisor is money. As I mentioned before, if you have scholarships, you should state that the amount and where they're from, so that can better inform the supervisor of the potential funding that you may need. Most graduate programs will want to know how you expect to fund your degree within the application itself. So be prepared ahead of time to provide that information. Will you be applying for scholarships and award? Will you need assistance of bursaries or student loans? Professional programs are not eligible for scholarships and awards, and Nathan will go over that a little bit later in the session, so you'll get more information on awards and who qualifies for awards. My colleague answering another question there. Let's talk about eligibility requirements. Minimum academic requirements for Canadian students. So there are minimum requirements for admission to College of Graduate Studies. Individual graduate programs may, however, have additional requirements. Consult the graduate program listing in the calendar, as well as you can go on our website, as we demonstrated, to confirm the admission requirements for the specific program. Applicants who do not meet these requirements but have significant formal training and relevant professional experience may be granted admission on recommendation of the appropriate graduate program or faculty and approval of the Dean of College of Graduate Studies. For a master's student, an applicant must hold an academic equivalent of a four-year bachelor's degree with a minimum overall average of B, 76 or 79 at the UBC level. And we will be looking at third-year level courses and above. For doctoral students, applicants must hold an academic equivalent of a master's degree with clear evidence of researchability or potential, and a minimum overall average, again, a B+ in all graduate level programs. Minimum academic requirements for international students, and this can sometimes be tricky because students may not know how to compare their international degree with a UBC degree. Master's applicants must hold a credential deemed academic equivalent to a four-year bachelor degree from an approved institution who demonstrates superior academic standing. For doctoral applicants, applicants must hold a credential deemed academically equivalent to a Canadian two-year master's degree from an approved institution and who demonstrates superior academic standing. UBC has a guide available listing comparable credentials and grade requirements for different countries. So feel free to, if you're an international potential applicant, to visit the www.grad.ubc.ca/countries website and look at your degree, whether it is an approved degree and whether it compares to the UBC standards. English language requirements. In the summer of 2022, UBC Okanagan expanded the number of English language tests approved for admission to graduate programs from 2 to 9. And you'll see those on our screen. If you have checked our requirements and you think that you should submit an English language requirement, you can choose any one of these testing agencies to do your test with and submit, and they should submit that directly to the College of Graduate Studies. Tests must be taken within the last 24 months at the time of the application. If you're required to submit English language scores and you have not yet taken these tests, it is advised that you wait to submit your application until a test is taken. Please visit our website again for more information on English test scores. Minimum scores for each test will vary. So visit our website and you will get those details. Preparing your application, we're going to speak a little bit about deadlines, and you can find our deadlines again. There is a link there, and I think my colleague again will plug that link in. You can navigate to that as well, Alicia, so they can see where they can find deadlines. So start your application as early as possible. Most deadlines for September programs fall between December 1st and January 31st, so plan accordingly. Some programs only have one intake per year, while some will have 2 or 3. Deadlines separated by start date. Complete applications include all supporting documents, transcripts, references, test scores. You will see a checklist of all your required documents when you submit your application, and all those must be submitted by the different deadlines. Otherwise, when you log into the application after the deadline, you won't be able to submit those documents. Check the respective program website before submitting an application after the published deadline, and contact the program to see if you can still submit an application if the deadline has passed. Student fees. Applicants are advised to use the online application system, as I said before. Could you navigate to the application system, Alicia? Could we navigate to it from the website, Alicia? Because that will give them their view. So if we navigate it from the website, so if you go top, click apply, and just hold right there. So once you click apply, I implore you to read the information that is here before you start your application. If you are a current or past UBC student or a staff member, and have a previous CWL, do not create a new account at this time, as this will delay your application. If you're applying as a domestic applicant, you are required to provide proof of Canadian citizenship or permanent residence. So this page, once you click that apply button, is very important. Ensure you read all the details here before you start the application. Application fee waivers are only granted as listed on our website. Please check that to see who is qualified to receive an application waiver. If you're eligible, the waiver will be automatically applied when you submit your application. You do not need to pay for the program once you have received a waiver code. Domestic fees are now $116.25. International applicants pay $168.25 Canadian for the application fee. Payment of the application fee must be made via MasterCard or Visa or internet debit payment card. And if you're using a debit payment card, that must be with TD or Royal Bank of Canada. When you are applying, ensure that you know the campus that you're applying for. The Okanagan campus, as you see in this picture here on the right. If you apply for a Vancouver program, they're unable to transfer that program to the Okanagan, and you will have to submit another application for the Okanagan campus. So ensure when you hit submit and you move to this page to select the program that you'd like to apply for, that you're applying for the correct program. Again, the Okanagan programs are on your right. Preparing your transcripts. And this sometimes get potential applicants flustered, as they often think that if they don't have complete transcripts, they can't submit an application. So you can start your application and submit it, and then submit your transcript later. Unofficial transcripts can be used to do GPA, so you can submit unofficial transcripts when you are starting your application. Include courses taken as part of an exchange program or transfer credit. Do not add any high school academic history or transcripts. We just need post-secondary transcript. Each transcript will be scanned as an individual PDF file and uploaded to the application system. This makes it easier for programs to review your application. So a complete academic history is required and must include all post-secondary institutions attended. As I said before, those can be unofficial scans, and it does not mean that you have to complete the program, but near completing the program to start, or should be completing the program before you start the program that you're applying for. UBC transcripts are not required, as we have those transcripts, and those will be automatically uploaded to your application. Grading scales, also known as transcript keys, legend, grading schemes, or division of a class, are also required. Generally, these are at the back of the transcript, and depending on the institution or the country you're applying for, might be a separate document. That document is needed to completely assess the grades on your transcript and to do an accurate GPA. So please ensure that you include that with your submission. If you're unable to upload copies of your transcript during the application process, please arrange for official transcript to be submitted to the College of Graduate Studies immediately. Applicants will not be reviewed until transcripts are included in the application package. If your institution does not issue transcripts in English, you must submit a copy of your transcript in their original language, as well as an English translation. Rules around what are acceptable as official translated copies can be found on our website as well. Do not send academic records that are not in sealed or endorsed envelopes. This will delay the process of your application, as they will have to be resubmitted with seal in a sealed envelope or envelope to the College of Graduate Studies. Conditional admissions offers may be made based on official documents. Offers are not finalized and applicants cannot register until one set of the required official academic record is received. Read instructions carefully when submitting official copies of the transcripts for COGS. As I said, the document should be in a sealed envelope if you're submitting it directly, or preferably you can have the institution send those transcripts to us directly. Some institutions now have the ability to send those transcripts via online, so you can apply for that as well. And that is also a faster way of us getting the transcripts, and they will send those directly to us. Prepare your application references. Most programs require applicants to submit 2 references, either academic or professional. Some programs may require additional references. Check with the program website before applying. Choose references or referees wisely and reach out early. Check the website for rules around what is considered acceptable as a reference. Referees are sent a request when you submit your application. Choose referees with institutional emails. That is, if a referee does not have an institutional email, that they just have a generic Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, they will not be able to submit a reference on your behalf. When you are choosing a referee, you should ensure that you have the conversation that the referee is responsible to draft and submit that reference. Once the referee gets the link, they should not be sending the link back to you for you to draft your own reference and submit that. If we find out that you submit a reference for yourself, that would be deemed fraud and your application may not proceed further. So ensure when you're selecting your referee, you have the conversation. If they are too busy to complete your reference, please ensure to find another one. The option is not for you to complete the reference and upload on their behalf. The reference must come directly from the referee. Other documents that you should bear in mind, and this is if you are submit, most of our thesis-based programs will require you to submit a statement of purpose. Try to ensure that when you're writing this document, your academic or professional goals and how they align with the program are clearly stated. Some programs have very specific requirements, like social work, nursing, IGS, English. So check our website to ensure that you review what the requirements are for a statement of purpose, so you're fulfilling the requirements when you are drafting that document. Ask yourself, why do I want to pursue this degree? That answer can generally guide you through your studies, although that answer may change, and that's okay. It is important to have some direction about what you'd like to achieve with your degree and state that in your purpose of your statement of purpose. This can help shape your research and the networking and also for professional development opportunities while pursuing your degree. Prove your academic readiness. A statement of purpose should be well written, concise, and in English. Describe your purpose. Express your scholarly or creative interest in terms of specific projects. So speak to the project that you'd like to research, or speak to the project that you'd like to research with your particular supervisor. Include your methods and intellectual framework. That's how will you conduct your research, creative work. What intellectual, analytical, or work would you like to undertake? Situate your research within current scholarship. How does your approach relate to current research on the topic? What is the significance? How will your research advance knowledge in your chosen field? Why does this research matter? And those are that list is not exhaustive. That's just a few examples of stuff that you should include in your statement of purpose. Again, we advise that before you start drafting it, to visit our website or the program website to see if they have any specifications of how they would like you to draft that document. English test score checklist is automatically added to all applicants. So even if you're a domestic student who have pursued post-secondary studies for 24 months at a Canadian or English-speaking institution, that checklist will automatically be on your application. Once it is reviewed by the College of Graduate Studies, if deemed that you don't need to submit an English language test score, that will be removed. A copy of your test score must be uploaded if it's required for your application at the time of your submission. Official scores must be before an admission offer is sent. So before you can get an admission offer, you must have the institution that you did your test with submit your test score to us directly. Spend some time in crafting your resume. Arrange your resume to highlight your strengths as they relate to your chosen field. Present the information in easy, accessible, and attractive style. And we've provided some suggested content here: education and credential, employment history, research experience, internship, volunteer work if you have done any, and academic achievement. If you have received awards as well, you can put those there as well. Some programs have program-specific required documents that must be submitted. So if you're applying to social work or clinical psychology, a criminal record check is required. So we'd encourage you to start that process early. If you're applying to Masters of Fine Arts, they will require you to submit a portfolio, so you can start putting that together early before you start the application. So it's ready to go and upload once you're submitting your application. Scholarly writing sample must be in English. Examples include course papers, conference papers, or any publications that you have done before. I'm now going to pass over to Nathan to have some conversation with you with regards to funding your research or your degree program.
Thank you, Damien. Good morning, everybody. Good to see so many people attending this session. I will have a few slides about funding your studies, and hopefully by the end of it, you have a better understanding of the types of funding available to you. So financial support for graduate students usually comes from the following sources. Internal merit-based awards, scholarships, and fellowships. Specifically, I'll highlight a few of the research-based scholarships available, as the college is only involved with research-based awards. However, there are course-based awards available to you that we're not involved with, and I'll allude to that a bit later. There are external funding agencies, UBC Okanagan Teaching and Research Assistantships, and finally, needs-based awards and financial assistance, including loans, bursaries, and emergency assistance. So I'll go through each of these in a bit more detail and highlight where you can potentially include some of this information in your application. First off, internal merit-based awards. There are many awards that the college offers, and you can find on a webpage that has already maybe been linked or maybe will be linked eventually. And I've just highlighted, I pulled 3 out here just to highlight some of the different flavors of awards that are available. Firstly, there is the UBC Okanagan Graduate Research Scholarship, or OGRS for short. This is available for students engaged in research, and each year, graduate programs receive a bucket of money to support their research-based students, and those graduate programs make funding commitments to their students in whatever way they see fit. So this one doesn't necessarily require an additional application. But students who apply to a program are considered for this award. Another type of award is the Indigenous Graduate Fellowship. This is available for Indigenous students engaged in research, and this is more of the standard application award that you'll see. So there's a set deadline each year. For this one specifically, I think is in February or March. And there are a few of these types of awards that you'll need to do your research to figure out when the deadline is and if you're eligible to apply. Finally, the last example here is the Graduate Dean's Thesis Fellowship. This one is to support students in the final writing stages of their degree. And it's a bit different for this one because each faculty receives an allocation of awards to hand out to their students. So this may entail a separate application from the applicant to the faculty, or it may require a supervisor nomination. This just highlights the different types of awards that are available and the importance of doing the research on our website to figure out which ones you would be eligible for that you should make note of applying to in your application. Next slide, please. Moving on to external funding. The Tri-Agency Canada Graduate Scholarships are available to Canadian citizens and permanent residents of Canada. And there is a master's program and a doctoral program. The master's is for $27,000 for 1 year. The doctoral one is $40,000 per year for up to 3 years. So no matter the research that you're engaged in, there is an agency to support you. For example, CIHR is for health research, NSERC is for natural sciences and engineering, and SSHRC for social sciences and humanities. If you aren't eligible for the Tri-Agency awards, for example, if you're an international student, there's the Killam doctoral scholarships. These are $40,000 a year for up to 2 years. And for the Tri-Agency and the Killam, it is highly, highly recommended that you apply each year that you are eligible to apply and highlight this in your application. It makes you stand out and ensures you've done your research, that you will be applying for this, and graduate programs love to see that their students are engaged in other scholarly forms of acquiring funding for themselves, whether it be the internal funding and the external opportunities that are available to you. And I do see Caitlin's plugged in a bunch of links there. Feel free to peruse, and especially that Tri-Agency scholarship support page, look into that. And for any master's students who are applying for next September 2025, you can apply before you're in your degree. It just ensures you have 1 extra year that you have an opportunity to receive it. So if you apply this December 1st deadline for a degree you start in September, You can hold your scholarship right when you start your degree. So that ensures you start off your degree on the right foot. Next slide, please. Moving on to other sources of funding. Research assistantships are many professors support full-time graduate students through their grant funding. The composition and the distribution of these to students greatly depends on the supervisor and the types of grants that they hold. And teaching assistantships or academic assistantships, on the other hand, is a position involving work in preparation, lecturing, or laboratory instruction. If you've been in your undergrad degree, you've probably worked with a teaching assistantship. This is a work opportunity for graduate students, whereas the research assistantships is more of a support to help you conduct your research for your thesis or dissertation. Both of these are assigned and managed by the supervisor, graduate program, or the department you're in. So this is important to understand in consultation with your graduate program and your potential supervisor, what the expectation is in your program specifically, and ensure you can highlight those opportunities in your application. Other awards. Faculties and programs may offer their own awards that the college is not involved with, specifically for course-based or thesis optional programs. Ensure you use the links provided earlier on in the session to understand what awards may be available to you in the program you're intending to apply to. Include the COGS awards that we've already linked, but also the other faculty and program level awards that we may not be aware of or may not manage directly. Lastly, bursary and needs-based funding. There is financial assistance, including loans, bursaries, and emergency assistance that is administered by the Student Records and Financial Services Department, so not us. But this is also important information for you to understand because bursaries is a very common form of funding for students on our campus and likely something that you may want to also include on your application. Next slide, please. This is my last slide, and it's just to make you aware that there is a minimum funding guarantee for PhD students in that if you are enrolled in a PhD program, you are guaranteed a minimum funding of $24,000 per year for up to 4 years. This can consist of a combination of all the aforementioned sources, so it could be internal awards, external funding, teaching and research assistantships, and those make up your funding package. This isn't distributed in like one lump sum, but throughout the year. For example, teaching assistantships may only be distributed to you as you are teaching through winter terms, whereas your internal awards managed by the graduate program may be lumped more into the summer term, for example, because you may have less funding from other sources during that term. Currently, there's no minimum funding for master students at the campus at the institutional level. However, it is important to use those program page links to understand what the minimum funding is within your program, because some programs do have their own minimum funding guarantee for master's students in the program, and also for PhD students above the campus minimum. So it's important to understand and set your own expectations for what your funding will be before you start your program, because that is important. It's important to know how much funding you will be receiving to support your studies so you can budget and plan accordingly, and you're not blindsided when you start your degree. That is it for me, and I'll pass it back to Damien. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan. I'll now introduce Nora, one of our campus partners from Global Engagement Office. Nora, are you there?
Yes. Hello, Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. My name is Nora Lambrecht, and I am the Global Engagement Office Immigration Advisor and International Student Support. First of all, wanted to thank all of you for being here and trying to absorb all this information, especially our international students, because after you have done all of this as far as applying and how to apply and looking at the resources that was shared with this team, you will have another extra step to take, which is then to apply for your study permits. As international students, to be able to study in Canada legally, once you have your admission letter, once all of the stuff that was just explained and you receive your admission letter, that's when you have another step to take before you join us here at the Okanagan campus. Applying for your study permit. So as you see on this slide, the email there on our website will help you navigate some of the steps that you need to take for this next step of immigration, for your immigration. So who are we? We are immigration consultants and international student advisors. We have the international student advisors support you not only as you arrive or even before you arrive with some of your study permit questions, but as well as your settlement questions and your settlement needs when you arrive on campus, whether it's your healthcare questions, social insurance numbers, housing, where to look for housing. So our website will sort of give you a little bit of an idea of what we do. And we ourselves understand the challenges of international students, that extra challenge that they have to take. But because once you get here, once you've got that study permit, you need to now settle. You need to now start looking at the challenges of the cultural differences. The social environment will be different. The academic environment will be different. So we can help you with lots of intercultural programming. So our office is more or less a home away from home for all of you international students coming from all over the world. So that email that's on the PowerPoint right now is something you should, thank you, Alicia, for pointing that out. I would like you to sort of take a picture of that, or even the website, have that handy. After you have been admitted, then we can step in and help you with the next steps. Yeah, so I've sort of explained what we do, and I think I only have another slide. I'm just here for a short, yeah, so here are some of the other things that we do: study permits, visas, work permits, postgraduate work permits. So these are for students who want to stay in Canada and work in Canada after they graduate. And as you probably, if you're an international student, you will already probably receive or have heard news that Canada's immigration landscape is changing a little bit. But there's, the changes are pretty manageable. So don't be afraid of it. So that is why you should also always consult with an immigration consultant and not hearsay or things that may not be true. So yeah, this is what we do. The cultural adjustment, settlement, medical service, and social insurance number, all this stuff that you need to be able to function comfortably here. Yeah, and you can always send us an email, even, before you start thinking of coming to Canada. You may have questions about what does healthcare look like there, the cost of living. Those things, especially, will be important because you will need to show quite a strong financial support that your family maybe, or your own savings, or whoever's supporting you. That's part of the study permit application, which is quite an important step for your study permit to be approved. Yeah, that's about it for me. We are here to support you, and thank you for the invitation. and hopefully we will meet you when you're on Canadian soil. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nora. At this time, I'll introduce Jason, another one of our campus partners from the Disability Resource Center.
Hi, can everyone hear me all right? I realize that you're not able to reply, but hopefully someone will speak up if you can't. My name is Jason. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I identify as disabled. I'm one of the accessibility advisors on campus, so I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Disability Resource Center, which can support you while you complete your graduate degree. Our team consists of roughly 3 groups, maybe 4, depending on how you draw the lines. There are accessibility advisors. We have a powerful and mighty exam team, and we have admin, reception, and then maybe the 4th group would be our invigilators, our exam invigilators, and they help support the exam team. So I'm here to encourage you to register with our office if you're a student who identifies as disabled, as having a disability, as having a chronic health condition, which may impact your ability to complete your degree or satisfy the degree requirements in the time indicated by your program. So I'll encourage you to reach out early and to complete the intake package as soon as you're accepted into your program. And if you have any questions about what might be required there, to email drc.questions@ubc.ca. So that's the bottom email on this slide. You do need to be accepted to start that intake package, but I'll encourage you to reach out early. You'll need to submit a sort of self-declaration about the barriers and impacts that you experience, but you'll also need to submit medical documentation confirming your diagnosis in keeping with policy LR7, the university's policy around accommodating students with disabilities and chronic health conditions. Next slide, please. So the students we support have a wide range of disabilities and chronic health conditions, some of which are visible, some of which are invisible. We support graduate students and undergraduate students. We have roughly 10% of the student population who is registered with us. So significant students who experience significant persistent mobility, sensory and learning disabilities, physical, mental health impairments, functional restrictions or limitations on your ability to perform a range of life's activities. I would encourage you to connect with us. If your program involves exam components or assessments for your courses and you experience disability or chronic health related barriers, we can alleviate some of those barriers with accommodations. I'm the liaison for the College of Graduate Studies. And so I work with, I would say 90 to 95% of all of the graduate students to try to find a way to remove the barriers that you might experience based on your condition. So the most important tip that I can give you as a prospective graduate student is to reach out as soon as you can. And as a student who identified as disabled, so I did my PhD and my MA, and I was very, very fortunate not to have to identify because at the time I was uncomfortable with identifying as a person with disability or being disabled. But I was fortunate because the university is not always accessible, and I just happened by chance not to experience those barriers. And what I see with many of the graduate students who reach out to me is that they reach out in a position of crisis because they have waited, like Jason waited, to register. I didn't register. I didn't need to. I got lucky. But the students who connect with me, many of them are coming to me late in their degree, and their relationship with their supervisor has broken down because they have disability-related barriers that they didn't want to disclose, and now the communication with their supervisor has broken down, and they're behind schedule or whatever it happens to be. So connecting with us early is an important thing to do because we can help you navigate how that disclosure might look for your supervisor or what accommodations might get put into place to prevent that breakdown. So connect with us as early as you can. It can take up to 2 weeks, sometimes longer during the busy times of the year. And if you come to us in a point of crisis, you need help now, but it takes us 2 weeks to do that evaluation to meet with you. So best to reach out before things are in a critical state. Next slide, please. We do a lot of different things for graduate students. The barrier for me is really, what are the essential requirements of your program? What essential pieces do you have to have demonstrated through the work that's required of you? And then I try to balance with you and in communication with your faculty members and your program. And I work really closely with the leadership team of the College of Graduate Studies, and I'm grateful for their support to determine what accommodations might be put into place. And so, reach out to me, let me know what your barriers might be, and I'll communicate with you, and we'll find a way to navigate those barriers. So, yeah, it's a balancing act, and the particular plan. I try not to list a number of accommodations that we can put into place for students, because it really depends on what your barriers are, and what your program requirements are, and it's that balancing act. So, anyways, take home message: register with us as early in your degree as you can, even if you think you won't need the supports. That way, that process is finished. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Email drc.questions. It will be forwarded to me. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora and Jason. Hope you found information useful from our campus partner, and we implore you to use the services if you need them. I think there is one thing might have forgot to mention, and that's just because he was not able to be here, and that's our Indigenous programs and services. And our Indigenous graduate student coordinator advisor is Eli Kelly. Eli Kelly was not able to be with us today. Eli works in partnership with Indigenous programs and the College of Graduate Studies, so he's sometimes there and sometimes with us. And so Eli can offer application support to Indigenous students, Canadian Indigenous students. The program also offers community and cultural appropriate services to support First Nation, Métis, and Inuit students. You'll also be able to get some advising, counseling, and they do social, cultural events, workshop, tutoring, peer mentorship, and academic planning. There is a pathway that Eli works on, and that pathway basically just gets potential students in that and sort of helps you with what you need to know or need to do to apply to graduate studies. And then there's also a sister program, the mentorship program. And what the mentorship program does is it pairs Indigenous students with other researchers, so you can get some research experience. And so that will help you in your application when you're submitting an application to clearly and distinctively illustrate your research background. When you get to campus, Indigenous Center is in the UNC building, 210, and all students are generally welcome there together. You can visit our website there to find out more information about Indigenous student, and my colleague would plug that in the chat shortly. So after submitting your applications, applications cannot be edited after submission. Allow plenty of time to fill out the application. You can upload documents and manage references after submitting the application. So if you submit your application and you misspelled your name or you put an incorrect or an old address, you won't be able to make that edit after you've submitted that application. No worries, so just email us and provide us with the necessary documentation, and then we will make the updates for you. So if you find that you submitted your application and your name is incorrect or something else is incorrect in the application, just shoot us an email and we make the updates for you. Check your application status regularly. Locate your application on the submitted application, manage documents and references through your application system. So once you submit your application, you will receive a link, and that link you can always use that link to take you back to the application that you previously submitted, and you can check that application to see the status. You can also log back into that application and manage the documents. So if when you submitted your application, you did not upload all your documents, you can go back in before the application deadline and do so. You will be sent emails via the application system periodically, or our office will email you directly with information on your application status and required documents. So if you submit something that you submit the wrong document, say you were supposed to submit your transcript, but you uploaded 2 resumes, the office will contact you via the application system to upload the correct document. So please check your emails regularly. Check your junk mail if you think you should be receiving an email from us and you're not getting it. It might go to junk mail depending on the email you have and how your email is set up. It may just automatically push all our emails to your junk mail. After submitting your application, we receive thousands of inquiries a year during admission season, so it can take time for our staff to respond to emails. Generally, after our Christmas break, when we come back in January, we are now in the heart of application season. And generally, when we can return to almost 4,000 emails. So do bear with us. It generally takes some time for us to actually respond and go through those emails. If you have submitted an email and you have not received a response, please do not send several more emails of the same thing. We will get to it in the queue. It's just that at that time of year, it's a lot of emails in the email box. Mail is processed through central receiving office, so sometimes it may have been delivered to our campus, but it has not been delivered to our office. So sometimes you might have applied for a transcript and you send us an email or call an office to say the document was signed for and it has not been uploaded. It generally takes about 2 to 3 days before it gets to our office because we have a central mailing system. If it has been longer than 12 weeks and you still have not heard anything from us, you can just send us another email regards to the previous email that you sent. When in doubt, reach out to admissions and records officers by filling out the contact us form on our website, and then we'll try our best to respond to that as well. Or you can also use the grad admissions.ok at ubc.ca.